Senator Rhiannon.
Thank you, Mr President. Today, Community Broadcasting Association of Australia came to Parliament to meet with MPs for the 2014 Community Broadcasting Morning Tea. The event was organised to increase understanding of the sector. I certainly learned a lot. Very relevant for me as a senator in New South Wales, where we have some fantastic community television stations and also community radio across New South Wales. Now, we know that the multi-channels, the more mainstream media, heavily rely on imported content, whereas community television is a valuable source of locally made programs. Now, data from OzTam, which manages TV ratings data for total TV viewing, shows that the monthly cumulative reach of community television is only slightly lower than that of all Foxtel channels combined. So I was interested to hear about the future that community TV is facing, because so often community television, particularly community media, particularly community television that gets no government funding at all, can face challenges. And it's worth just reminding ourselves how they do survive, and a bit of a summary of what they presented today. They don't get the government funding, they are self-sufficient, they're very much about social cohesion, they are excellent community engagers, and clearly I do believe that all of us should be encouraging community television. As I've mentioned, for us in New South Wales, it's a big part of our fabric of our communities. And just before I go on to some of the challenges that community television is facing, I did want to acknowledge the community television in New South Wales. This is where we have Hunter Community Television coming out of Newcastle. It's actually not on air at the moment, and it's trying to sort that out with ACMA. Illawarra Community Television, again doing an excellent job. It's been operating since 2005. Warp Television in Bathurst, another non-profit community group dedicating to promoting screen culture across the Central West. TVS Sydney is the only free-to-air, not-for-profit community broadcast licence holder in Sydney. It's based in Western Sydney, broadcasting across Greater Sydney. And I learned about that one door-knocking once with somebody who had it on and was told me what they were watching and who they had seen who was standing for Parliament once. So it's very, very much used, particularly popular in a lot of public housing areas in Sydney. And then we also have Snowy Mountains Television doing an excellent job. And across the country there's some other excellent examples, including the one that we do need to acknowledge, Aurora Community Television, which is a not-for-profit Indigenous the Indigenous Community Centre is ICTV. So Aurora Community TV doing a great job, and Indigenous Community Television, which is Australia-wide. But then we have to consider what the future is. And it was interesting today to hear the Minister speak about community broadcasting. And in his presentation he gave great emphasis to linking the future of broadcasting with the internet. Now, these comments seemed unusual the way he cast them, and in discussions with community broadcasting people afterwards, I came to realise why. The future of community television is actually under a cloud, and I do urge the Minister to reassess his position. The Minister is considering the future of the sector as part of the government's policy of media deregulation. Now, an apparatus licence for CTV that gives access to the spectrum for TV broadcasting expires on the 30th of December this year. Renewal depends on the Minister's decision. At this stage, this renewal is not forthcoming and all stations face closure. People I spoke to today from community television recognise that a move to the internet is inevitable for all broadcasters. That's not in question. However, to force CTV to move in the short term is wrong. Surely the Minister does not want to be responsible for CTV failing. I urge the Minister to work with the sector. Failure would be clearly bad for community broadcasting, and I would also suggest it wouldn't be a good look for him as a responsible minister and his government. I urge that the minister works with the sector, allows time to resolve the shift to the internet, renews the apparatus licence for community television. Now, at times we hear a comparison made with the shift BBC Three has made. Now, I would argue that the BBC Three channel a shift to the internet cannot be compared to CTV in this country on size, scale and how it's been undertaken. The British experience, in fact, demonstrates the opposite. That this country is moving towards community television is what is actually happening in Britain, with a rollout of 28 local television licences on free-to-air spectrum with largely the same aims as we see here. So I really would urge that the Minister ensures that he works with community television so it survives, has a healthy future, and that would be a richer media mix for the whole country. Thank you.